Hey, welcome. Today we're working on a 2006 Chevy Colorado, and for those of you that have been paying attention, you'll recognize this vehicle from the blower motor video a couple weeks ago. Yep, this thing just really, I think, likes being in the shop, likes being on camera. I think it's just looking for an excuse to be here. Today it has an airbag light on that we're working on. So before we get into that diagnosis, guys, I want to just give you a quick little disclaimer. If you are not comfortable working on automotive electrical circuits or diagnosing that kind of thing, working with electricity in these systems, don't work on the airbag system, okay? You have to be fully comfortable with electrical systems to diagnose airbag systems. The airbag system, for lack of a better term, uses a tiny little explosive within the components to go ahead and ignite that airbag or the pretension or whatever it might be. If you do something really wrong, if you really mess up, you could hurt yourself, hurt someone else, or potentially wreck the vehicle. So just be very, very careful, and if you don't feel comfortable with it, take it to a professional who does, okay? All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into our codes. We are dealing with a B0065 and a B0066 today, both of them related to the driver's side pretensioner, which really is the seat belt assembly on this vehicle. And basically what happens in the event of an accident, the airbag module recognizes there was an accident, and if we're going to go ahead and engage the steering wheel airbag, we're going to go ahead and cinch that seatbelt tight on the driver at that point. So that pretensioner's job is to pull the slack out of the seatbelt. So a small explosive charge will actually pull that seatbelt and snug it down tight so that it locks in place so the driver doesn't go flying forward into that airbag coming at their face, okay? We have a problem in that circuit. Guys, anytime the airbag light is on the dash, the airbag system is going to be disabled, okay? We have no airbags in this truck right now because that airbag light is on because we have a fault in the system. So B0065 and 66 are open circuit and circuit voltage out of range for this guy right here. So this is the third door on here, just so happens to be the driver's seatbelt assembly in the door on this vehicle. Not always like that, but this one happens to be. I've already removed the door panel so we can get a good look at that. Now, guys, in my diagnosis, you know, I've preached this before about trying to maintain the same process and that kind of thing, you know, looking for TSBs, looking for common problems, going out, you know, performing a Google search or going to Identifix. Sometimes those silver bullets can lead you right to the problem. Just know that when we're dealing with silver bullet fixes, that doesn't give you the authority to go ahead and order up parts right away or anything like that. We still have to be testing. Diagnose before you triagnose, right? In fact, guys, in this one, the silver bullet did lead me right to the problem for broken wires in the door right here. It happens on vehicles, right? We see it a lot on driver's doors. This one happens to be on the passenger or the driver's side rear door. It happens, but just know that that silver bullet just led me to inspecting that wiring, which was very simple to do. That is not my full diagnosis. I'll take you guys through that diag right now. Let's do it. Okay, so right here's our pretensioner assembly. Goes to this connector. By the way, guys, if you don't know, airbag connectors will almost always be yellow. Runs in through here and then into our little corrugated tubing here and then into the body itself. So in this little tube right here, the wires are common to break. So that's the first thing I did. Before I even bothered pulling off the door panel here, guys, I came out, popped this rubber grommet out right here, and I pulled it back. And orange wire is just hanging out. So, I mean, we definitely have broken wire in here, and it looks like we have another broken one in this twisted pair right here of this white and brown. So we have a lot of broken wiring right in here. So the first thing is going to be to go ahead and fix that wiring, but I like to be able to prove out that the system functions prior to you know, going to sell it to the customer type of thing. So what I went ahead and did is, according to our wiring diagram, we had a connector here. So I went ahead and pulled that off, found our connector right here, which is great. It's almost like GM had designed it to fail. They put a connector on that side, so it's really easy to repair. But I went ahead and I unplugged this connector, So now I for sure have an open circuit. And then you guys have seen me use this kit in the past. There's tiny little resistors within that kit. And what we can do is we can substitute our pretensioner in the circuit and see if we can prove out to the airbag module that the rest of the circuit is intact. So what I actually did is I went ahead and plugged this guy into this connector. Again, we just have a small load on there, a small resistor on there. It's about 2.5 ohms. That small little resistor on there, we go on that full loop. And if I go ahead and turn the key on now, our airbag light is off because we've proved out the circuit. And then if I go ahead and unplug it, airbag light comes back on. Okay? So that tells me that everything from this point to the airbag module is good to go. So my problem is between this point right here and the pretensioner. So obviously we just have to fix up some wires here and make sure it works. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this secondary connector here, which is for most likely the speaker. And we'll pull this through the door and take a look at what we're really looking at here. So we for sure have an orange wire that's wrecked. Our black wire here still appears to be intact, which is good. All right, so I showed you how to prove out the circuit with one of these guys. What I'm gonna do now is I'm actually just gonna snip back a little bit of the wire on either end. And then I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna plug this guy back in. I'm gonna plug this guy back in. And then I'm just gonna hold these together like so, completing the circuit. Go ahead and turn on our key. And now, because I'm holding these together and the circuit should be complete, if we have a functional system, the light goes off. Light on, light off. And you know, that's one of the coolest things about the airbag system is that the light goes on and off with the fault there or not. You know, not like an engine light where you fix a wire, you got to clear it out type of thing. With the airbag system, if the fault is currently present, like this open wire, we get a light on immediately. As soon as we fix it, like 2 or 3 seconds later, the light goes ahead and goes out. Now guys, when I repair wiring in a door jamb, this wire broke right here, and the reason why it broke is because the door opens and closes, right? So if you were to go ahead and solder this wire right here, or put a heat shrink butt connector, or you know, any other approved method of connecting the wires, and if you're the type of guy that's going to put a wire nut on here, please go and I don't know, find something else to do for a living. We do not put wire nuts on cars, okay? Please don't put wire nuts on cars. So I'm not a big fan of putting my splice connection right where the door is going to be opening and closing. That always adds a slight stiffness to the joint, which is going to lead to the wire breaking again there faster than it had originally. So what I usually do is I'll snip it on this end, somewhere over here, where it actually sits inside of the body, and then I'll snip it over on this end over here where it sits inside of the door, and I'll run a small section of new wire in there so we have nice, good quality wire in the middle and our connection on either side. All right, now we'll just verify that it works. Again, simply turning the key on and making sure that the light is off should do it. It'll blink for a few seconds to prove out. And our light is off. All right, I'm not gonna make you guys sit through watching me repair the rest of these wires because there is some insulation missing on these, so where it's broken. So I'm not gonna make you guys sit through watching the rest of that for the speakers and stuff, but I'm gonna go ahead and get those fixed. All right, so I think that just about does it, guys. That is a quick repair for B0065 and B0066. Chevy Colorado, GMC Canyon. If you're dealing with that pre-tensioner open circuit code, go ahead and look for a broken wire in the door jamb there. All right, pretty simple fix. Quick and easy today. So if you guys liked what you saw, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you go ahead and click that bell icon, then you'll get notifications with the next video that we put out. So really appreciate you watching, guys, and as always, happy wrenching, everyone. Thank you.